Hi there and welcome to this week's edition of the weekly Gersnet Podcast. Hi there and welcome to the latest edition of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast and what has been a tremendous week for the Teddy Bears. All the news is positive. We're all hyper here at Gersnet. Well, I am anyway. We'll find out how the guys are when I introduce them. But a great week, great result last week in Spain. Hearts drop points on Saturday. Celtic get pumped on the Sunday and then we win convincingly. So it's all good, it's all positive, and really looking forward to this show because we're all happy, smiley people. Joining me this week on the show, we have two who have appeared before. We'll go to our first female person that's been on the show before, was Christine, and she's joining us again tonight. How are you, Christine?
I'm very well. What a great day.
It's been a great day. I am hyper, I must admit.
It's Carol's birthday Sundays, eh?
Well, actually, I'm going to maybe be a wee bit dodgy with my part here. I was speaking to a couple of guys at the game, and I was like, because I don't know about you, but I'm in the middle of a long weekend, so we got the result on Thursday, off Friday, Hearts drew yesterday, Celtic got beat today, we won the day, and I'm off tomorrow. I said to a guy at the football, I says, I might try my hand with the missus tonight because all the news is positive. So I might be onto something tonight. But we'll see. I'll update you next week. It's all positive. It's all great stuff. Great stuff. Loving it. Also joining us this week is Stephen Clifford from the blog Four Lads Had a Dream. He's practically a regular now. How are you doing, Stephen?
Very, very, very well tonight. Considering the last time I was on, we had just been beaten by you-know-who. Frame of mind today is, yes, we're on a Richter scale of very excitable tonight. Absolutely.
It's I can't remember the last time I had a few days like this with Rangers, honestly. It's been great. It's been absolutely brilliant. So we'll have a wee look at the game today. Obviously, a great result against St Johnstone. We'll have a wee speak back at the Villarreal game. And we'll also have a look at this George Peat stuff, the allegations that have come out that, some shenanigans were happening back in 2008 when Rangers had their fixture pile-up. So we'll get straight on to it. Obviously, today, a great result against St Johnstone. I thought it would have been, I predicted 2-0. My boy predicted 3-0. Turned out we were both way off. A great performance for Rangers today. Tavernier scored in 9 minutes. Morelos scored on the 34th minute. Scotty Arfield made it 3 in 52 minutes. Big Kyle Lafferty come on to make it 4 in 74 minutes. St Johnstone got a bit of a dodgy penalty, I thought. Brought it back to 4-1, but Candias ran up the park 2 minutes later and made it the 5. Stevie G, his thoughts, he said after the game, I thought at times we played some really stunning football and we certainly deserved to win by a big margin today. And we got that with 5 different goal scorers, which is a good point, I thought. I thought against Dundee, there were times when we came off the gas, and today we came off the gas a little tiny bit at the very end, but that is me being overcritical. I'd be interested to hear what St Johnstone's manager says and what the players thought of their performance today. But that is what it has to be about here. We have to show people what we're about. We have to play our way and we have to make it uncomfortable for teams. Absolutely tremendous performance today. Stephen, I'll come to you first. What did you make of the overall performance today against St Johnstone?
Biggest compliment I can play to the team today was I thought it was easy. I thought at times we looked like we were in a training game. So much so that I was actually a bit miffed at how sloppy we were. I thought defensively, some of our distribution was poor. I've seen us defend and distribute from the back a lot better. But that's me being kind of picky on their performance because overall, second half especially, some of their passing and movement was delightful. A couple of outstanding individual performances, which I now seriously think we're getting some of the best performances out the likes of Arfield. Morelos was the best I've ever seen him today. That for me was a complete striker's performance from him. I was buzzing for him. Everything he tried, his link up and everything else. And somebody that I've been slightly worried about performance-wise. Daniel Candeas really showed that he was back on form today. Ryan Kent was excellent. It was just, see, after what had happened at Rugby Park, I was slightly nervous about today, but completely buzzing with that performance. And as I said, the biggest compliment I can pay to them is they made it look easy. It was 5-1. It didn't in any way flatter us. We were well worthy of it being 5-1, and to be honest, it probably could and should have been more. But we played with them. We passed it about. We knocked it about really well, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it today. Ibrox was very good today. Everybody was in high spirits. It was brilliant.
There was a wee bit of sloppy play, but overall, the direction of traffic today was fairly positive, especially in the second half, as you say, Stephen. I think, yeah, I really think this weekend may be, maybe a sort of pivotal weekend. We'll find out, but it certainly feels very, very good to be a Rangers supporter today. Christine, I'll come to you. Stevie G starting 11 today. He reintroduced Katic, who'd missed the game against Villarreal on Thursday. He brought in Flanagan for Barisic. He brought in McCrory for Halliday. Do you think he got the starting 11 right?
Well, obviously the result, you can't really argue with it, can you? I think Barisic is injured though. I know he came off with a knock on Thursday night. I don't know whether Flanagan would have been playing if Barisic had been fit, but you can't really argue with either of the results. Thursday night I was saying, that's a bit of a risk bringing in Worrell, and then after the 45 seconds you think, but at the end of the day it turned out all right, and I'm not going to argue with Stevie G and whether he gets it right or not. He's got most things right this season, apart from one game that I can think of that we don't mention.
Yeah, and see one thing about that one game, I blogged about this. I genuinely think, he started to be 6 players on that side that day against Celtic who'd never experienced that fixture before, and it felt to me like he was prepared to take a hit. I viewed the team that he put out that day as him looking at the marathon ahead rather than the sprint that was in front of him that day. He wanted these players experienced in this fixture, just get them out there, throw them into the deep end and see how they get on. And it's what now those players have experienced that fixture, gaining a bit of momentum. Come December 29th or whenever it is we play them again, I think that would be a bigger test as to where we are in terms of competing with Celtic on a one-to-one basis. So I was never that overly concerned about that Celtic defeat. I must admit, everything else since has been positive, So no, I think you're right. I think it's all good. It's all good in the Rangers garden. Stephen, coming back to you, sort of Christine mentioned there, with a few players switching about, a bit of rotation. I'm starting to feel that there's a real sense that he is using the squad at his disposal. Do you think he's doing it wisely? Because I have to be honest with you, he's impressed me with this. When I saw some of the team selection today, me and my boy always sort of try and predict the team as we're coming in. And last season, one of us always at least got it right, because the team was fairly predictable. Today, none of us put McCrory in, and there's just this feeling that there's more strength and depth in the squad, and that Steven Gerrard's using this squad wisely.
First of all, just like Christine said, it's Steven Gerrard. I'm not going to argue with him. I cannot really pick fault with what he's done so far. Sometimes substitutions are maybe a wee bit later than I'd like, or things like that, but that's just personal kind of preference of what we like. Today, yeah, I remember you asked me a question on one of the very first pods that I done, asking me if I thought Ross McCrory should go out on loan, and I said no. I said the best thing would be for him to stick around and learn off the manager. Ross McCrory was excellent today, and that comes from good management. He's taken him out the firing line after St Mirren head was maybe down a wee bit, he was banned and things like that, and he's brought him back in, and he is an example in his performance today of how well he's using the squad, in my opinion. Middleton as well, I like the fact he never got on today. Not because he didn't deserve to get on, because his fire in his belly, he'll be ready now possibly to start against Ayr in a couple of days, and he'll be chomping at the bit. Likewise, Andy Halliday, very hard lines that he didn't go on today as well. But again, he's used Halliday superbly. And what it means is when these guys do finally get their chances, they're going to be bursting at the gut to take them. And I just think it augurs well. As you said, that there was nothing last season that picked itself. And if they didn't play well, they were playing again. It's not like that. We've got strength and depth. We've got good numbers. And yeah, I mean, there's not been too many times where I've looked at the Gaffer's 11 and disagreed with it, to be honest. So yeah, today was good. I was like you, surprised McCrory started, but it turned out he's spot on. Tamani got it perfectly today. Substitutions were good. Affected the game as well. So aye, Steven Gerrard. I'm still in love with him. I'm not going to argue anything that he does, to be honest.
You know, Steven Gerrard's always had this sort of, about his own career, he was always said he was very single-minded. He didn't want anyone to get in his way. He wanted in that team, and he was prepared to shove anybody out the way to get in there. And I think that's the sort of mentality, that he's trying to instill in his players. You know, so I'm pretty sure when he was saying to players that were coming in today, this is your chance. You know, you're getting in today. You need to cement a place down, and I think it keeps everyone motivated and wanting to play in. You know, wanting to stay in the squad. Christine, Stephen mentioned earlier on about the level of individual performances today. I thought the front three were terrific today. I thought Candias was fantastic. I thought Kent had another really good game, and Morelos for me was man of the match. I thought, like Stephen, I thought he had his best game in a Rangers jersey today. Who did you feel was your man of the match? Who stood out for you today?
The funny thing about it is that last season you were struggling to find a man of the match because none of them were good enough. Today there was too many candidates for it. I felt Morelos probably just nicked it, but I wouldn't argue with Candias. Thought Ross McCrory had a really good game as well. I think Stephen said that earlier. I mean, it would be hard to fault anybody today, but there was some standouts.
Stephen, obviously it's a great weekend for Rangers. Hearts and Celtic have both dropped points. Celtic will beat today. Hearts had a draw yesterday. I mentioned earlier on that it kind of feels like a pivotal sort of weekend in the title race, and I kind of say that because it made me remember and think of in 2011 when Rangers were so many points ahead of Celtic the season when it all started going wrong. It was a defeat at Kilmarnock. It was a sort of, that's when you look back at the end of the season, that was a turning point. We got beat 1-0 at Kilmarnock, and then it all started to unravel a wee bit. And then come Christmas time, Celtic had clawed back the gap. It kind of felt like this could be a big moment this weekend. Is that how it felt for you?
Yes and no. I don't want to get carried away because at the end of the day, we're only 6 games in. I think that's the most important thing. But I'm going to go back to a couple of things. See, if we journey back to last Friday night, we were 4 points behind them and they were playing St Mirren away in what should be, no disrespect to St Mirren, a routine kind of victory for them. They blew it. They could have went 7 points clear instead. They didn't. They went 5. We then won, brought it back down to 2. We're now ahead of them. And from being 7 points, potentially, we're now a point clear. That, to me, is a big swing. Mentally as well. We've got a wee bit of momentum now. And I just, I've blogged on this and I've said it as well. We need to go on a domestic kind of run of form. Every game is massive for us. So that is potentially the swing comes from that, from the psychological kind of move from potentially 7 to being 1 ahead. I just hope they power on now because they've got all I just think we're a different animal now. I mean, last week was routine. Today was routine. At times, again, it was like a training match, as I said before. But something I wanted to say on your point before, Colin, was that somebody that I don't think gets a lot of credit that really should in our team, Scotty Arfield's been magnificent for me. He's like an unsung hero. He does so much work, so much power of running, so much closing down, and he doesn't always get the kind of adulation that maybe Koulibaly gets and things like that. But I think Scotty Arfield's been terrific, deserved his goal during the week, deserved his goal today, and I think he's starting to settle. And I think you're going to see a guy that gets 10, 12, 13 goals for us in a season, and you're going to now see how good and how positive and influential he is in that team. For me, he's turning out to be a real favourite, and he'll be a tremendous bargain, free transfer. And that's the kind of positivity that's now coming about the team. I think that I can only think, and maybe it's wrong, maybe we're all a wee bit overexcited tonight, maybe I am, who knows. But I just think we're going to get better. We're going to really start motoring on, and hopefully we will do that.
There is a feeling that, as you say, it's all coming together now. There's just a feeling that this group of players, I think getting to the Europa League was a big achievement and a big moment for that dressing room to think, we're pushing forward here. And it's almost like you can see this group of players come together. And I think Arfield, as you say, he's certainly over the last 2 or 3 weeks sort of stood out a wee bit in terms of his level of performance. Christine, speaking about momentum, big game at Livingston. I never thought I'd say that. That's a sentence I thought I'd never say. A big game at Livingston, because they're on the same amount of points as us. They're on 11 points as well. So it's a huge game next week at Livingston. And then the following week, it's Hearts at Ibrox on the Sunday. So, big couple of games coming up. How important is it that we keep that momentum going? That we push on and keep on making a statement every week that, we're in this title race. As Stephen pointed out, going on a run of, X amount of games winning.
Yeah, I think it's vital we maintain the momentum. I think Livingston have surprised everybody with their league position this year, but I don't think we should have anything to fear from them. Same with Hearts. I'd fancy us against anybody at Ibrox at the moment, and maybe that's been a wee bit blue tinted glasses on, but I really think that we're quietly turning it around to be a fortress again, which obviously in recent years it hasn't been. But I think the crowd, I think the atmosphere is much better. The crowd are actually getting behind the team rather than on their backs. And that only comes from the performances that the players are putting in. But I do think that if we don't get 6 points from those 2 games, I'll be very disappointed.
Right, moving on, we'll have a wee look at the Villarreal game, our first European group match since 2010. A big night for Rangers. I must admit, I was really looking forward to it. Sort of rushed home. I had a thing at work, which meant I watched the game sort of 30 minutes behind real time. But it was still just as exciting because I made sure I wasn't watching my phone or anything like that in terms of the score coming in. Brilliant performance, especially second half. Great result, a real statement to go to Spain and come away with a point. Christine, I'll come to you first on this one. What did you make of the overall performance, and how did it feel to be back in that European arena?
It's funny because I think I was more nervous at the qualifier than I was on Thursday night. Probably because qualifying meant so much. To me, everything's a bonus from now on, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. I honestly thought it would be a narrow defeat for us, if I'm being completely honest. I couldn't see us going and holding them to a draw. And I think the first half performance probably, justified that. But when they came out in the second half, they were just like a different team. And, we could have nicked it at the end, but so could Villarreal. So, I'm just delighted with a draw, because it's not only the prestige, it's the money that comes with it as well.
Yeah, so is it like £250,000 a point or something like that? And it's so every point counts, really.
Yep, and that's the toughest game that we're going to face. That was the top seeds we were playing, and we're taking a point off them, so it's all looking good.
I know, it's great, Christine. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm used to dealing with chaos in this podcast. I can't deal with this positivity. Stephen, we look at the starting 11 he went with. Obviously, a big surprise that Worrell came in. I just never seen that coming at all. Obviously, Morelos was suspended, so Lafferty came in. Again, looking back at Stevie G's team selection, how do you think he got on?
I was like you. I was extremely surprised that Joe Worrell started. the rest of the team fairly picked itself. Obviously, didn't really have much kind of criticism or anything of how we set up. Going back to a point you asked there, I actually blogged and I thought we would win on Thursday night. I'm most likely stuck in a kind of whirlwind of positivity and love for Steven Gerrard. I think he can do no wrong. So I tipped us to win 3-1. I tipped Lafferty and Arfield to get on the score sheet as well. But so I was right with my scorers. But I was obviously delighted with Thursday, especially the second half. In regards to the team selection, I can't have any complaints. Worrell needs to play at some point, so if maybe Katic had a strain or he was tired, we don't know. But it worked out in the end. So, and the most important thing from Thursday, I think, to take out of it was the fact that Gerrard really nailed his substitutions. I mean, Middleton coming on was absolutely top class. He changed it for us. He took us 20, 30 yards up the field, and his positivity and drive really kicked us on, and everybody seemed to kind of be revitalised from going behind to him coming on and kind of driving us on. So yeah, I thought pretty much he nailed it, and they responded to him at half time after a kind of very similar first half to one we got a few weeks ago. So I'm not going to, as I said to you before, I can't say anything bad against Steven Gerrard, mate. It's just I'm caught in a wee trance with him, I'm afraid.
I don't think you're the only one, to be fair. No, again, I would agree with most of what you're saying there. As I said, it's all good news. I just really enjoyed seeing Rangers back in that stage. It's for someone like my boy who he's 13, that he's never seen anything like this before, and that's when it hits you. That's when it hits you, the sort of the journey that we've been on in terms of being down in the lower divisions and playing your Brecons and your Forfars and all the rest of them, and to get back at that level. There was some good footage of the fans celebrating the equaliser for Scott Arfield. If you haven't seen it, go onto Twitter. It's like 7 years of pain just unleashed, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant to see us back there.
Funny story on that. I'll quickly just say, I was like you. I was in work, and I kind of had a wee sign up at my office saying, the Rangers are playing. Don't bother me for the next couple of hours. And a boy phoned us from the other side of the office and said, Rangers just equalised, Stevie, because we heard you. So that was that. I said, it's just like you saying, it's emotion, excitement, and a little bit of belief crept in on Thursday night. Just even more that we're a good side. See, when we get going and we play to our strengths, we're a good side.
Well, following on from my neighbours would have been very aware that Rangers were playing the other night. Let's put it that way. When Lafferty scored that equaliser, they were under no, illusions that Rangers were playing, because the place just erupted. Me and my boy were jumping. Even my daughter got involved, and she doesn't bother with football. Even she was jumping about. So yeah, a great night. Christine, who impressed you most on the night? Was there any standouts for you?
Oh my goodness, I think possibly, and I know we're going to talk about him next, so I thought Glenn Middleton made a big difference, and I think I know he played in a previous European game, and I'm struggling to think was it Maribor he played, or was it the one before that? Anyway, I thought he was outstanding, and I thought he's in the team on Saturday or Sunday, but he wasn't. It's difficult because I'm quite elderly, and that's a few days ago now, Colin. It's I can't really remember much about it. I thought all round. I thought Andy Halliday was good. I think it was just an all round good team performance, really, rather than any standouts.
I think you would struggle to say anyone didn't sort of get pass marks. I think most people done their bit on the night. I know McCoy's was sort of singling out Barisic for the Villarreal, their second goal, but I actually thought it was connected to Tavernier. I thought he was so far up, he was pushing, he was pressing high up the park, and when Villarreal got the ball up, the whole back four had to. Well, there was only three of them there at the time. they all had to move sort of 10 yards to the right to cover the runs, and I think that's where the problem came from. I think if Tavernier hadn't been so far up the park, you'd have had the back four there. So I kind of felt for Barisic getting the flack for that. But overall, yeah, I think everyone done their bit on what was a big night for Rangers. Stephen, Christy mentioned Glenn Middleton there. Obviously, he came on. I thought the pass for the equaliser was fantastic. It was a really, really good ball, very well weighted. It made a huge difference when he came on. He was so direct, just going straight to the fullback. How big a night was that for him? That to me, I thought, to go from relative obscurity for last season, we'd never even heard of this boy, to come on in a European game like that and make that sort of impact. How big a night is that for him?
I think it's massive for him. I'd kind of spoke about Middleton before and blogging and things, and saying that he's got raw potential, and but I think the other night kind of kicks him on. He's gone from raw potential to somebody now that the fans look to for excitement, and they look to as if to say, instead of it being raw potential, he's now kind of got star potential. As you said, the first, before I comment on what you were saying about the pass and things like that, the first thing that Glenn Middleton did when he got the ball on that left-hand side was attack their fullback, and he drew a free kick and a caution. And it just said that they tried to double up on him, and he just kept going at them. And that is brilliant. That is confidence and arrogance of a young player that I love. They're not scared. And it goes back to what I was saying before. I thought it was brilliant that he didn't go on today. Not because he didn't deserve it again, but because that's just good management. See, when it comes to him maybe starting against the Ayr, or maybe if we need him at Livingston next week, he's going to be chomping at the bit again. And I just think that's great. That kicks him on, because now we know, we've got a game changer. We've got somebody that maybe if, Kent or Candace isn't available, that's all right, because Glenn Middleton's there. So very positive about Glenn Middleton's future. I think the management team are doing really well with him, and I think potentially if he kind of kicks on, we've got a real prospect on our hands.
Again, I can't disagree. I mean, for an 18-year-old to come on, you're right. The first thing he done was run at the fullback, and obviously got his first goal for the club last week. Ironically, I thought it was one of his quieter games last week. It wasn't quite as direct last week. He's obviously got his goal, and for a young boy 18 to perform like that and on the European stage, his first European game, obviously, or the group stages, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I'm really hopeful for Middleton, because everything I've seen so far is really positive. Christine, coming back to you, obviously the point sets us off pretty well. A difficult place to go to Spain and come away unscathed. It's Rapid Vienna, Ibrox next. Does that provide an opportunity for us to really sort of cement our good start in this campaign?
Definitely. I think they're a decent team, but to get them at home, if we could get points on the board, I don't think we have really anything to fear from either of the other teams. In fact, we've obviously got all three of them to play at home, and like I was saying earlier, I just think that Ibrox is beginning to become a bit of a fortress again, and I can see us getting 9 points from our 3 home games, to be honest, and then we've got the 1 away point, so 10 points should seal it. Just as easy as that.
You're making it sound very easy.
I know. But see, just going back to Glenn Middleton just for a wee second, Colin, I think we need to give Graham Murty some credit here for signing him from Norwich. He had worked with him before, so Graham Murty gets a lot of stick, but he got that one right. But
I feel for Murty, but
yeah.
See, the issue with Murty was he was in the wrong job. Obviously, if it's him that brought Glenn Middleton at the club, and obviously the job he was doing with the young boys, to me that's his job. That's the role that he's best suited for. I'm not overly happy with how the club handled that whole situation with Murty, if I'm being honest with you. I think they could have got him out a lot quicker, because it was obvious after a wee while that he was out his depth. But it's all worked out in the end. He's still at the club, and I'm glad that's the case. And you're right. If he brought Middleton to the club, so he deserves credit for that.
Yeah, I agree. But no, I think all the games are winnable, really. But maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself a wee bit too much.
Well, you're allowed to. As I said, we're not used to this positive stuff. We've not had it for so long. We don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? It's brilliant.
Let's just cut to the chase. We're going to win it. We're going to Baku. You know what I mean? It's happening.
I said that to the boys at the game of the day. I says, we're winning a lot. I says, we're winning the treble. We're winning the Europa League. We're winning MasterChef. We're winning the Eurovision Song Contest. We're winning the X Factor. We're winning everything. For the next year, just stick Rangers' name on it, because we're doing a lot. But maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself now. I don't know. Right, quick question to both of you. How good was it to see Rangers back at that stage? It's been so long. We really have been through, the mire a wee bit. There's been times I've been sitting there. I can remember I was at Easter Road the day we got beat off Raith Rovers in the Ramsden's Cup final. I can remember coming out of that game that day thinking, when is this going to end? Is it going to end? Is this it now for us? We sort of done as a big club. And Thursday night, I must admit, felt really, really good to me. I really, really enjoyed seeing us back in that stage. How did it feel for you guys to see Rangers back in that arena?
Fantastic for me. I've really missed it. I still would like to hear that Champions League music at Ibrox, though, but I don't think we're quite ready for that yet. But it's great just being in these big stadiums and just hearing our support. You heard them throughout the whole game on Thursday, and good on them. And I think it's great to be excited again about going into European games, because we have missed that big time.
Stephen?
For me, it's everything is just kind of working towards where we need to be on a more regular basis. This is Rangers. We are a massive, massive club, an institution, and we shouldn't be where we've been recently. Thursday night's just another little indication that we're on our way back. And yeah, it was exciting, buzzing. All Thursday I was looking forward to the kick-off, watching the clock and things like that. And yeah, I got a wee bit excited when the goals went in and things like that. But it's just brilliant. We've deserved that, as you said. See, for all the guys that were at Brecon when it all first started, and the guys that have stood when we're getting beat by Alloa, like yourself at Easter Road for the Ramsden's Cup and things like that. I took my 7-year-old father-in-law to that game with the missus. And he suffers from Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, and he still loves his Rangers games. He absolutely loves them. He was there today with me, and that's what he lives for. And he came out of that today, and he's like, he just so happy and so delighted. And the other night is the same. That's for all of us that have kind of stopped by and went through all that in recent years. And it just feels brilliant. I can't wait for the home games, the big atmospheres and European nights and that. It's where we should be. Well, we should actually be in the big one, to be quite honest. We all know that, but it's where we should be on the big stage, and we're getting back to that, and that's what's important.
I agree with both of you. It was great. You know what? I forgot what it was like though. I forgot how nervous you were at these games, and it was just seeing that goal went in after 45 seconds. I was, oh Christ, not again. And all the memories, all the European nights previously, when it was just pure nerves at times. I forgot that. I forgot that's how you felt at these things. So it was great. Really great to see Rangers back there, and a fine way to start a great weekend. Right, moving on again, and we'll look at the final topic of this week's podcast. Very sort of serious topic to look at this week. Obviously, there was the incident with George Peat, the former SFA president. He's claimed that chairman of a prominent club urged him not to help Rangers at the tail end of the 2007-2008 season, when Rangers had got to the final of the UEFA Cup and were facing a severe fixture backlog. Rangers were scheduled to play 5 games in 11 days towards the end of that campaign. Season finale was delayed for all top 6 clubs by 4 days to ensure a same-day finish. Peat revealed last week that a chairman, or as I said, a prominent club, contacted him by phone asking him not to help Rangers out with their fixture backlog. Peat served as the SFA president, between 2007 and 2011, and the reason he was discussing this is he was asked about, his time at the SFA and if there was any disappointing moments. Former Rangers player Lee McCulloch was asked for comments on it. He said if Peat's account is accurate, that it's quite sad. The effort that the players put into that campaign was unreal, and I would be upset if there were people at other clubs plotting against Rangers in the background at the time. So all very serious stuff. Stephen, I'll come to you first on this. Given the seriousness of the allegations by George Peat, should Rangers be requesting a review of the decisions taken at the time and maybe a wider review of the sort of governance and decision-making processes at the SFA?
It depends on what way you look at it. Is it worth it when dealing with the SFA? Because King's already highlighted the kind of people that are employed at the association. They're not Rangers friendly. Would it do any good to shout about this? No. In my opinion, it probably wouldn't be. For me, George Peat needs to just come out and tell everybody what we already know. We know who it was. We know who it was. The phantom tours of Japan, the false upset for cancellation games and all that. We know exactly what went on. That season was a shambles. Some of the things that happened postponement wise and things like that. Is it worth going back through it? No. But should we forget about it? Not in my opinion. Just chalk that up. We know about it, and we know who done it. We know who orchestrated it. It's just nothing surprises me when it comes to that lot anymore, I'm afraid. And yeah, try not to sound like the bitter old man that I am. I'm just like, that season was just pathetic. We know that. But for me, I don't think it does much use kind of going over it again. I don't think even if we did go to complain about it or ask for any governance and things like that, the SFA would do anything anyway, mate, in all honesty.
Well, yeah, you've maybe got a point there. I suppose at the end of the day, if you're going to ask for a review of these things, you have to look at what would the outcome be. And it's not really going to benefit Rangers, is it really? But it does nip a wee bit. I'm not going to deny it. When this is coming out, I think we all suspected something was going on in the background at the time anyway, but to have it confirmed, doesn't leave a sort of nice taste in the mouth. Let's put it that way. Christine, Neil Cameron at the Herald and Andrew Smith at the Scotsman both came out with pieces on this. Both went out their way to sort of claim that, Rangers have nothing to complain about. They weren't, unfairly treated at the time. Neil Cameron is obviously a Celtic supporter. Andrew Smith is a former Celtic View editor. Have they both been a bit disingenuous? Because when I was reading both their pieces, the thing that struck me was they weren't actually dealing with the main issue. The main issue here is not how Rangers were treated at the time. It was that there was stuff going on in the background that shouldn't be going on in the background. So surely that's the issue that they should be talking about if they're going to write about it.
Yeah, of course they're both being disingenuous. That's what they do. But there is a story here, but perhaps the story should have come out 10 years ago when it was all happening, and I think there would have been something possible to do there. But, it's so much time has gone past. Probably the people involved, like John Reid, etc., have moved on. These journalists, they were frightened that something came out that would show Celtic in a bad light. But we all know what kind of, antics they got up to that season with the Phil O'Donnell thing. And, Tommy Burns passed away the night after Manchester, I think, the day after Manchester. And, it was... Tommy would have wanted it. Well, I'm sorry, but, it really smacks of double standards. But do you know what? There's no point in looking back in a way. There's all sorts of things that have happened to Rangers over the years that we look back and say, that should never have been allowed to happen. everything that happened in 2012 and the five-way agreement and things like that, that was really shambolic. But, you know, we wouldn't really gain anything. I don't see them giving us our prize money back, for instance, or anything like that, because they'll say it's a different company. So I think,
like they always do.
yeah, I think we should. We all know, and that George Peat has got it out there, and everybody knows who it was. There's not even any point in guessing. So we'll just leave. I think we should just leave it at that and let everybody make up their own minds.
On the Phil O'Donnell thing, I mean, I have to sort of say it does feel slightly uncomfortable bringing something as serious as that into it, but it does feel like that. You know, Celtic had quite a lot of injuries at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was anyone in that Celtic team at that particular time who'd played with Phil O'Donnell. Motherwell, who was his club at the time, they fulfilled their fixture. You know, yeah. So it does feel, and I don't like bringing it up because the guy was a dad, he was a husband. You know, he's a human being at the end of the day, and don't want to upset anyone, but that it does feel like Celtic used that at that time for their own benefit. But
of course they did. But this is what we're saying is nothing against Phil O'Donnell. It was an absolute tragedy for the man and his family. It's just the double standards that Celtic used during that season that sticks in the throat a wee bit.
It does stick in the craw, you know. I mean, 5 games in 11 days is just absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I suppose the 2 years are right in that it can't be changed now. You know, what's done is done. I suppose that's the way it is, and we just need to move on that way. Stephen, Stevie G was sort of mocked recently when he came out with a comment about referees and saying that, you know, the world's against us and all that. I mean, he took a bit of power in the press for that. Does this story add weight that actually Rangers are treated slightly differently in this country compared to other clubs?
I don't know if it adds weight to it. I think it just confirms what we've always kind of know, that there's a jealousy there of Rangers and our status and where we've always been. We know that, but it is what it is. I think it's all about Rangers, in my opinion. Ignore the nonsense, the irrelevant, and the noise, as I say on the blog, and that's all it is. Let's concentrate on ourselves. Let's kick on and really get a siege mentality. That's what I want to see from my club. I want us to just get going, and now I really think we've got an opportunity to do that.
You say ignore all the noise, including the dog back in the background.
But that's my Chinese here. That's her. She wants her prawn crackers.
Christine, I think we all know who the prominent club is. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that it's our separated brethren across the road. Is this a sign that at this particular moment in time they have too much power within the game?
I think they have had. They seem to have very prominent people in prominent positions. Overuse of the word prominent here, but it's difficult to find another one. I don't think it's been quite as bad as it now as it has been in the past. I'm not sure that they're just getting everything their own way like they used to, but we would only know that if another similar thing happened with fixture congestion for a start, you know, and we would find out. But I think do you know who is the chairman of Celtic anyway? Is it Desmond or is it he the PLC or
no idea? Whatever
it is, but I think people know that.
Is it not that Tory Peer? What's his name? That Bankier? Is it him? I can't mind.
Oh, Ian Livingston, is it?
I can't mind. To me, it all focuses on a lot of it comes back to Law. I think Peter Law's quite prominent in all these things.
Yeah, but he's obviously the executive, you know, the chief executive rather than the chairman. I mean, he did emphasise Pete emphasised the chairman. Although I think sometimes Peter Law thinks he's chairman, chief executive and owner, the way he acts sometimes.
Seems to get involved in a lot of things he doesn't need to get involved in my opinion. But hey ho, I must admit, the one thing that made me think that maybe things, as you pointed out there had changed a little bit. I was convinced with this whole debate about whether Scotland should play their games at Hampden or Murrayfield. I was convinced during that whole debate. I said, you know what, they're going to come out and say we're going to play them at Celtic Park. I was absolutely convinced that was going to happen, and it didn't. So maybe there is argument to say that they maybe don't quite have as much power as they once did. Stephen, coming back to you. I mean, I think I gave the stats earlier on in terms of how many games. 5 games in 11 days. I don't care what anyone says. That is ridiculous. If a club in any other league was facing, that sort of backlog, do you think the organising body would have extended that season beyond what the SFA did here?
Well, yeah, absolutely, because other authorisations and organisations and things aren't hell-bent on punishing or not working with their clubs. They want to see best because it's best for their games. That's exactly what Zenit. I think Zenit had something like a 10, 12-day break, and they went away on holiday. They went to a training camp. And what did we have? We had Dundee United on Saturday, something like 24 hours before we had to go to Manchester as a squad. But it's funny there when you were asking Christine about who Celtic's chairman is. I don't have a clue what goes on at that club. I don't pay attention, but I'll tell you something else. See, if you ask any Celtic fan in the world, they could tell you who the cleaner was at Ibrox. They're obsessed with us. And as I said before, I couldn't care less what they do. I don't think there's much point in kind of going over this or kind of raking the coals. The time to kind of, enjoy this will be the end of the season when we're celebrating, in my opinion.
Well, I hope you're right, Stephen. I hope you're right. There maybe is an argument to just let this go, but I must admit, it does still stick in the craw a wee bit. But as you guys have pointed out, there's nothing we can do about it now. Right, guys, final topic of the week. It's the Sefco of the week. Probably for a lot of us podcasters, we spend a bit of time trying to find something for this because it's one of the favourite features of the podcast. Stephen, have you got any this week?
Yeah, it's been glorious today on Kerrydale Meltdown on Twitter. It's one of my favourite pages. I talk about this all the time. This is where actually I just get all my ammunition. I just go on that site. Couple of belters today. First one, quite amusing. It is with heavy heart I announce that the Celtic banter years have arrived. That one tickled me. The other one, the best one, I think, is the establishment won't let us win 10. We all know it. Whether they've got to Brendan, I just don't know.
I've seen that one, actually. I've seen that, yeah.
And there's another one here that's just been great. It says, just been sent this. Just when you think they can't sink any lower, they bring on a sectarian flute band on their pitch while the police just lightly just stand back and watch. That, of course, was today's parade
band,
and the pipe band.
Yeah,
they really are a special breed.
Christine, you got anything for this week's?
It's probably not a Sefco of the week type thing, but there was a tweet that I just loved the other night. It was about what the Celtic fans knew about Villarreal, and it was all about their league position, their first team players, their history, and then what they know about Rosenborg, the team that they were actually playing. They are Norwegian. And I think it said it all to me that they obsess over things about us that we wouldn't even dream of thinking about with the teams that they play.
That sounds similar. I don't know if you remember the one a while back. It was a couple of years ago. This guy ended up with thousands of retweets. This guy had went on to Twitter and moaned about whenever he went on the STV website, the football pages. When he went on it, at the top of the page, it had all the sort of top flight club badges, right? And the Rangers badge was in colour, and all the rest were in black and white. So he's going off. He's not a Celtic fan, saying, "Why is the Rangers badge colour and everyone's black and white?" And somebody came back to me and said they map the pages that you go on. So if you're visiting the Rangers page on the STV website all the time, the site assumes that that's the club you support. So they changed that badge to colour, and the boy just never came back. He just disappeared. That was it. He sort of realised he'd made an arse of it. So, quality stuff. My Sefco of the week, it was just all that hullabaloo about the kits. Ryan Kent's kit was slightly different from everybody else's. And I think the UEFA inbox crashed at one point, because they're trying to lobby UEFA to get us chucked out of the Europa League because Ryan Kent's kit was a bit dodgy. But aye, that's them summed up, really, innit? They're after that. Right, that's all we've got time for this week on the Gersnet Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. Big thanks to Christine and to Stephen for their contributions. Christine, I believe you've got a shout out that you want to do before we wrap things up.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just a shout out to Gregor, who sits in front of me in the main stand at Ibrox. He's a regular listener of the podcast, so I said I would give him a wee shout out, and also safe trip to my sister who's going to Boston on Tuesday.
Good. Stephen, I believe you've got a wee update as well.
Yeah, as you know, Colin, I started the Four Lads Had a Dream blog last November. During that time, we have had nearly 430,000 views, which has been incredible. And something that I wanted to do was give something back to the club. So we've been talking to the club for a while, and I approached the youth development company to see if we could help them. And basically, what we are now doing is we are going to advertise the youth brand. So if there's a latest promotion like the lotto or the pools and stuff, when you read our blogs now, you will now see that kind of links in that. And it's just our way, hopefully, with our reach of kind of making, if one person signs up for the pools or the lottery for the club, then it is worth it because it gets them a wee bit back. And we're going to be announcing a couple of exciting things from the blog over the next couple of months, which we hope will help raise some money for the youth development company as well. So for anybody who wants to check it out, we are fourladshadadream.blog on the net. We're also Four Lads Had a Dream on Twitter and on Instagram. Come and say hello. And thanks to everybody that regularly reads.
Good stuff, great stuff. I have to admit, I was a Rangers pools agent back in the day. Done my bit, done my time. Right, thanks to Christine and Stephen for their contributions tonight. Excellent stuff from them. A big thanks to our audio engineer, Graham, who will make everything sound wonderful. Don't have any info about the show next week. Obviously, you may have noticed, actually, I should have mentioned this at the start of the show. Ross was due to host tonight, but he had to pull out. He's actually nicknamed Jordan Ross. I know he misses that many pods. So he might be back next week, not really sure. But once we know, we'll let you know. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please share it on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, that kind of thing. Tell your friends how much you enjoy it. Get the word out there. Subscribe as well if you can. Also, in the meantime, get yourself onto the Gersnet website and forums at www.gersnet.co.uk. Lots of stuff on there, previews, match reviews, opinion pieces, and of course the forums there. Loads of people chatting about Rangers. So all great stuff. So until the next time, thanks for joining us.